Pablo, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Hey, it's a pleasure to meet you. We've talked a little bit online, but we haven't met. And the more I get to know you, you seem very interesting. Like you're an entrepreneur, like really doing some stuff. It's an honor to have you here.
Let me just say something. How do you say when you feel the chills? When you're saying that, I mean, you're feeling my heart because I really put a lot of work and in many years of trying to build something for me, for my family, and ultimately also for the community I'm serving. So it just really feel me.
Right on, man. So let's get started. Introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from, and let's go.
Well, I'm a Tico. I'm a Costa Rican. I'm 41 years old. I lived in the States for 8 years, and this is how I learned how to speak English and to service North Americans and to understand the culture a little bit. And I used to sell services to a retirement community back in the States. That was my job. So most of my customers, they were like in their 60s and so on. Then eventually I moved to Costa Rica and I decided to figure out what am I going to do. And eventually I got into a job selling international shipping services. Almost 15 years now since I've been selling shipping services. And along that way, many years after that first job, I decided to launch my own company and start getting people that ask me, hey, Pablo, can you help me import my car and my container? I'm moving to Costa Rica. And because my English was a little bit better than everybody else within the industry, started getting a lot of customers moving to like places like Nosara or Tamarindo or Puerto Viejo de Limon. And I started learning that there is a huge demand for trustworthy solutions or for trusted resources.
Hey, can I pause you right there?
Go ahead.
Because with relocation and shipping stuff, I'm scared of it because I've seen it go very well and I've seen it go horrible. And it seems so risky. I don't know what to tell people. And then sometimes my friends got into it and it's like, well, I know my friend. Of course they're trustworthy as a human, but they don't control borders and shipping. Like to do what you do, you need to have contacts all over the place. It's not as simple as, hey, I feel like doing this. I'm just going to open this up. Off we go. Like it's effing hard. So can you deal with that? Explain it to me because I'm nervous.
Industry, I mean, to be the most transparent as possible, my industry sucks. Like my industry is complex. There's lots of moving parts. On every given project, we have to deal with at least 10 different subcontracts or parties or third parties. The customs broker, the container people, the trucking guy, the movers, when you get to the other port, it gets to Caldera or to Limon, then we have another customs broker, right. Then we have the port, have many things to manage.
So how are you dealing with all of that to where I can feel good about it? Because someone listening to this, and this is gonna happen, people are gonna be like, oh, I heard this is good, I heard this is bad, what should I do? And then they're gonna come ask someone like me who works in this business, and I don't know what to say.
This is the only solution that I was able to put together. And by the way, if you guys search my name or the company, International Relocation Partner, Google Maps, you see 5 stars across the board, 4.7, something like that. And the reason why is I under-promise and over-deliver. That's the only solution that I found. When we talk to a customer, we just don't give a number just because this is what you need. We sit down for like 20 to 30 minutes to tell you all the risks, how things are gonna go down, what is the things that you need to do before the shipment, so we minimize risk. So we prep you as a customer with at least 30 minutes. I call this within my company, with my team, I call this the over-communication approach. First, there is a consultation, then we record a consultation, we give you the transcript of the notes, then we send you a document, which is a custom tailor website with your specific project, with everything in writing. We don't do fine print. We put everything in 18, the size 18, the font. So you see, we told you about this risk. Do not bring food, do not do this. Make sure you count every box. We give you big ass size descriptions of what you need to do. And after all that, we are able to minimize the risk. Like we rarely have a customer complaining. And
wow.
Even if you, and this is all like
that's a big statement in this thing because there's a lot of moving parts.
This is the thing. This industry, most people are just for another transaction. Most of the big companies, they're doing probably 1,000 containers in a month.
Okay, so they're volume
So
oriented.
it's volume. So they get a customer, they give you a quote, you take it, good. Next, the customer doesn't know anything about Costa Rica, and chances are that the sales guy who's selling you this out of an office in Miami doesn't have a clue about Costa Rica customs anyway. So what they do is they send you a rate, fine print, and they tell you something like, you have to comply with Costa Rica customs rules and regulations, and it's on you, basically. And this is okay if you're a big company that you're used to shipping, 10 containers a month, because you have the knowledge, you have the experience of international commerce. But when somebody is relocating abroad, chances are this may be the only time you're doing this in your life. So you need somebody to hold you by your hand, explain you everything, and once again, the over communication approach and explaining everything. And then we do it several times along this process.
So can I bring it to Nosara specific? Because the people that are coming here for the most part are families.
Yep.
But they might have an emotional connection to their headboard or the personalized furniture. And if they're going to move here, they want to have that with them. I haven't always seen it work extremely well. I've seen it work well a couple times, but I've also seen it not work well. I'm reluctant to tell people, sure, pack it up, bring it on down, let's go. What you're saying is you have a solution for that by being individualized, and at the very beginning of the relationship, it's personalized. You don't just send a quote. How much is it? What is it? What's the weight? Boom, that's what it is. You're saying you find out. I'm guessing it sounds like you get very deep with people because you're finding out like their goal. Because some people don't need to bring everything. Like there's some things that they shouldn't bring.
We can, in the consultation, first, we try to understand. I'll give you a custom tailored advice based on your situation. Some people, in some cases, may be able to get an import tax exoneration with this new law, 9996. Some people, it may not be worth it. They're giving me, hey, I got this. We'll tell you, this is not worth it for you to do. You should better pay for the extra luggage with your airline, and you'll be okay.
Got it. So you don't just take an order of inventory list, here's the quote. You're saying you figure out what their whole...
It's a consultation. It's a custom tailored consultation based on the customer needs.
Okay.
But it's designed to over communicate the risks, the requirements, the regulations, everything that could go wrong, we tell you. And then also in writing in our project, in a project website that we sent you.
Interesting.
And this will turn down sales. Like a lot of people would say, no, it's too complicated. Fine, I don't want that customer. I want the customer that understands this is a complex process and that needs help. That way, when we manage the customer that follows rules and instructions and we tell you, please do not bring this, avoid that, they're obedient to the process. So when we go to customs, we don't have a problem.
So that's how your
easy.
reputation stays intact.
Of course.
It's by maintenance on the front end.
Of course.
I get it. That all makes sense.
And what's interesting is like, we get a lot of customers that will say, no, this might be too complicated, or this is out of my budget because, we told you it's not gonna be worth it. You're shipping something that you can just buy it in Costa Rica for less. We tell you we say this all the time. Some vehicles is the same thing. A lot of vehicles, we just buy it down here. There's some vehicles that book the value for Hacienda in Costa Rica. It makes sense. So we tell you, this may be worth it.
Do you mind if we stay on that part for a moment? Because we get asked frequently about should I bring my car down? And also, we've had some updated laws. So can you walk us through cars and then some of the updated rules and laws and regulations that have changed recently?
On vehicles, I would say not every vehicle makes sense. And like anything, like any real estate investment, like anything that you're doing a business, you have to do the research on the specific vehicle or in the specific project you're looking to do. And that will change if you're coming out of Florida or if you're coming out of
Texas
Spain
or somewhere else, anywhere else.
Whatever.
So can you give us a couple examples of ones that do make sense? Like what are some cars where you're like, yeah, bring that one down. That's a pretty good idea.
So some of the vehicles that I've seen a lot of people take the job is newish Tacomas, Toyota Tacomas. For some reason, last year I think we imported like 5.
Ironically, I drive a Tacoma right now that somebody brought from the States through a relocation person.
Right.
That one made sense.
Maybe ours. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So Forerunners, Tacomas, that type of product.
That makes sense for some people. When you're buying a new one here, it could be $79,000, $80,000 for a new Tacoma. So this is expensive trucks. Another vehicle that I do believe they book right are Jeeps.
Interesting.
I mean, the import taxes on those, if you have to pay import taxes on those, by the time you compare with what there's, MSRP at the dealership is, it may end up being worth it. Now, you have to keep in mind some of these American trucks, they're, fixing something, getting the parts. Some of this may not be available everywhere.
Especially in Nosara, man.
Yeah.
Like, if you brought down a Jeep in 2006, that was a bad idea.
Yeah. I think there are now a little more options.
I
And
see
you're
like
now-
4 of them in town, and people brought them down.
And then you can now order small parts through, like, buying this
That's
thing,
what it is.
it gets to Miami.
As the shipping has adjusted and we get more parts, so
There are now more options.
that makes sense. So that's very helpful on cars. What about personal belongings? Do you frequently have to say, no, don't bring that?
Oh, there's one that is super silly, funny. That is underwear and used shoes. It's funny because the government in Costa Rica Customs asked me to take that through fumigation, so it costs an additional fee. It's funny. Like a lot of people laugh. Don't bring your bikini, your underwear, your whatever. And this is because there is an industry of what do you call this? Like Goodwills, thrifting.
Yeah, like thrift stores.
Yeah, thrift stores. Thrifting, whatever. So there's
Hey, that's
an
a good word. You can have credit for that. Can I? Hold on. Here's a rule. I want to use that word thrifting with your permission.
Go ahead.
I'll give you credit 3 times. Then after that, I want to use it. Is that okay?
All right.
All right, thrifting.
Oh,
What a great word.
So
I love it.
basically, there is this industry that will sell very low clothing to third world countries or low income countries like Costa Rica, and they will sell like used shoes. They will sell underwear, and that could have fungus or they could have diseases. So customs makes it strict.
I never would have thought of that.
Don't
Never
bring
would've thought
that.
of
Just bring it in your luggage. Then you avoid the additional fees and delays, the permits that I have to get for that. And there are many other things that we have to get permits that would take another week or 2 weeks, delaying the container, and that means 2 more weeks of storage. So if the customer adjusts to our instructions, we explain, we can save a lot of money and time by just following our instructions, depending on what you have to bring.
I get you. Now, is there any difference for someone who's moving here from Texas versus somebody from Florida or New York versus Toronto or Calgary, Edmonton, or Europe or
course.
Spain? Or do you have any message for potential clients who are coming from Europe or Canada or
Yeah.
Brazil? Like, Nosara is a weird spot. We get people from everywhere now.
Well,
Like,
it's interesting. Everybody that is like in UK, for instance, or where you have your steering wheel in the other side, can bring that vehicle.
okay.
Things like that. In Europe, in general, 90% of the electronics are not going to work in Costa Rica because they are 220, and here we use it's 110. So the
plugs
electricity is not going to work. So oftentimes we get very smaller shipments out of Europe because of that. None of the appliances are going to work here. And everybody is different. I would say every type of shipment is different, and we're happy to make these free consultations. Oftentimes, the customer has to wait sometimes 3 days to a week because all the consultation spots are busy. And that's good for us, but sometimes this is what we ask them to book in advance.
Man, this is super helpful. While we're on it, tell people how to find you. Again, websites.
Super easy. International Relocation Partner. No S. International Relocation Partner. That's our website. You can book the consultation there.
And can I try to say it back like a synopsis real quick? Here's what I got. You want an immediate, like, true relationship with people right away. You're not a quick quote person. You're not, hey, I'm gonna bring down 3 bedrooms in this. Send me the bill. Like, what you want to find out is their like goal, and then make sure they even need you. Clarify what'll actually function and what not. Then you're saying you basically can handle someone from anywhere to get into Costa Rica,
Yep.
and you'll personalize it based off wherever they're from. If I'm hearing you right, also including going over what's not needed to bring down. They can find you an international relocation partner. The real difference between you and the bulk people is you personalize it, whereas they're more of a quote. Am I on the right?
Yeah.
Am I landing it right?
It's pretty much it. We want to understand what is that we're doing for you, understand you as a customer, analyze it. Sometimes we are not a good match,
Right.
and we'll tell you we are not a good match.
Can you generalize when someone's not a good match? Like,
Yeah, I have customers all the time, and even friends of mine that I move here, and then they call me, I need to bring, 5 or 6 ATVs because I'm opening a rental place, or I wanted to ship this product to sell in Costa Rica. So that's kind of like a commercial intent. So that's not the best. That's
Okay.
not the best match. For that customer, I would say we're not the best match, but let me introduce you some of my providers. If you have everything, the invoices, the supplier abroad, all that.
Yeah, if it's like a business,
Yeah.
that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
If it's a
So-
business, they're set up in a different manner. You're more family oriented, which is kind of whoever might be
we are
listening to this.
moving a moving company, an international moving company. In fact, we started as a moving company. I used to drive my moving truck, and then I ended up driving my moving truck to delivering somebody in Panama, making an international move. Then we started as a moving company, and then we just grow into international to the point that I cannot do more local moves anymore. I stopped doing that many years ago. We're now just doing international moving services.
Nice, man. Hey, that's a good story. I appreciate you sharing it. Do you mind if I ask some Nosara stuff?
Yeah.
So you're interesting to me because you go all over the place. I mean, not even just Nosara. I'm sorry, not even just Costa Rica. Panama, Mexico, you have contacts all over, and we don't have to get into all the details, but I do want to ask you this. Can you say what's the differences that you see in Nosara? And I'm not asking for a good commercial. I prefer you not give a good commercial. We all know Nosara has pretty, the nature, the environment. We know all that stuff. So I'm asking you, what's it like looking at Nosara from your perspective? Like, what do you see as the pros and the cons, and just be as real as you want to be?
Okay, that's an interesting question. Very interesting. I get to drive and visit places like this. There's one place that I love in Panama, which is Pedasi. It's a surfing spot next to Playa Venado. So similar to Nosara. There's places in Nicaragua as well that are popular. Nosara just got this energy. I think it's not something like mystical, like something attracts people to Nosara.
Have you seen you've seen the podcast before? That's how
Many times.
Sometimes people talk about the vortex.
Yeah, I hear that before.
What's happening here from your perspective? What
I
is
think,
it?
I think there is a good sense of community,
Okay.
a little bit better than other places. That attracts people. And there is this energy about it. But I don't know. I don't know why exactly. But I do notice there's a lot of people moving in. We get people asking very oftenly, can you quote a shipment to Nosara? Maybe I would say we do 10 to 15 shipments a month in general for Costa Rica. We get once a month somebody quoting, getting a quote. I want to know how much it's going to cost me to move to Nosara.
So it's not any specific thing. You're saying the same thing that we all say. It's like, I don't really know.
I think there is a sense of community that is a little bit better than other places. That's just my personal perspective without knowing a whole lot, though. So I never lived here. I just visited here maybe 2-3 days at a time every 6 months. Community is what makes a place even better. Like happy faces, beautiful places. Have you heard that?
Yeah. I've heard all kinds of stuff that I don't know if it's true or not. But
So the more we collaborate, we work and look for ways to get together and figure out solutions. That's the only way. And there are other places that have grown and they're not able to do this, and they just get a non-controlled tourism, no controlled, development.
right.
so
We just
that's
don't
not-
have enough space for that, fortunately. I think that's what saves us. Like more people want to come in, but it's gotten very expensive.
Yeah.
And there's good and bad of that too,
And
right?
I had customers, by the way. I remember last year I moved a family from Virginia. They wanted to be here, and they said, I can't. They rented a place for like 3 or 4 months, and there is not a school for my kids
Right.
because it's all booked. It's all busy. So I had to find something else.
Or you can't find a long-term rental.
Yeah. So it's one of those things. It's busier. It's more expensive.
Right.
Now it kind of protects itself. Kind of like it's a way of screening a little bit.
Somebody, man, that really is. Somebody said that to me back in when I first moved here in 2009. They were like, I need to give a shout out to that guy. I thought he was crazy at the time, but here's what he said. He said, Rich, the only way Nosara is going to be saved is if it gets so expensive that only affluent people can get there. And that's the solution, because the government's not going to do it.
No,
We're not going to just strike oil or find gold and all of a sudden everything's good. To keep the trees, to keep the nature, it has to come from us. And that means people have to have money. So I guess there's good and the bad, but the bad is I can't quite afford it, and I have to make a lot of money just to stay even. And even if my income goes up, it seems like Nosara is going up. So I'm trying to find out where I fit in too, because I'm tired. I have no idea what the future holds, but I think the last last 10 or so years, what year is it? We're going to 24. I think the last 12 or 15 years and the next are the best of Nosara. Like, that's what I think. Like, we have doctors now. Like, there's more places you can go. There's more shops. Like, there's also a big congruence of cultures. Like, there's so many people from every different nationality. Like, there's so many amazing people too. Like, it's great for a kid to grow up here because they meet really high level people. So I'm real passionate about it, but I also see that I'm kind of choking myself out of the very place I love. So I get it. And then what you do is, once somebody can't afford here, you can also help them go to the next place.
Sometimes, yeah, we get customers that they want to move back, or they want to move maybe from here to Panama or from here to Nicaragua.
Hey, let's talk about Nicaragua. I'm really familiar with that. I love northern Nicaragua. Like, to me, up like where the boom is, that area, specifically Playa Nahualapa, that's like my favorite spot. I don't know why I love it so much there. I just do. I just love it. But everyone's scared of it. Now in Nosara, when I first got here, everyone was scared of Nosara. So like 2009 to 2015, it was like, I promise Nosara is cool. And people would be like, I don't know. Nowadays, it's completely flipped. Fast forward to now, Nosara is proven. There's no arguing that people want to be here. But not everyone can get in. So now with Nicaragua, I found my spot that I like to vacation. It's my version of it. It's my getaway. But everyone's scared of it. So if I wanted to move there, or if people wanted to move in, does Nicaragua, is that doable, or is it kind of like, oh, they're crazy?
Okay, there is good and bad. I mean, they're good and bad. I know I know a little bit about Nicaragua.
Okay.
My operations office is there, so we have 6 employees full time, and our general operations manager, her name is Marjorie. She works out of San Juan del Sur. We have a little office, and that's where the kids go work and coordinate containers for Costa Rica, for Panama, for everywhere. That's our little,
like your hub. I'm guessing that you don't get much business for Nicaragua, but you get a bunch for Panama.
I do more Costa Rica.
Because, well, I was thinking Costa Rica is like your core. I know that,
the next one will be Panama. But we also do every month about 2-3 shipments moving into Nicaragua. And it's interesting that some of the customers that go there are from Australia and from Europe.
They're surfers.
Not as many from United States or from Canada. We have a few. But
in the U.S., we're scared because we remember the Iran-Contra stuff. And I grew up with Oliver North on the TV and hearing just all of that. So a lot of people are unaware the Nicaragua populace is now educated. They're now literate. They want tourism bad. They're not scared of the United States whatsoever. They just see Costa Rica doing this and Panama doing this, and they have to come here to build the houses in Costa Rica because most of the houses around here are being built by Nicaraguans. So I think that they're ready to have their time. That's what I think.
I think you save a lot of money because it's an affordable place. Nicaraguans are super cool people. It's a safe location. To me, it's even safer than Costa Rica in general. For many years, Nicaragua was rated one of the safest countries in Central America, even better than Costa Rica for many, many years. Some people are still scared, and they're still going to be scared. But
the U.S. people are the most scared. People from the U.S.
That's what I think. But that's an advantage for everybody else who want to make an investment for a more affordable, entry. So properties you can buy a lot more than what you can get in Nosara. That's for sure. For the same amount of money.
If you had to make any predictions, like what the people from the U.S. always say is, do you think they're going to steal everyone's property like they did in the 80s?
I don't think so. But I don't think they're just going to go into one property and say, hey, give me your property, unless you're in the middle of something, unless they want to build something, a road on that. So no, I don't think so. Import taxes are super, super expensive. So it's a less expensive country in general for you to live. For you to import, the import taxes are going to be more expensive, and the logistics are more complex. So in general, I think it's more bureaucratic than Costa Rica. So if you don't like that, if you cannot live with that bureaucracy, it might not be the destination for you.
I get you.
But once you're there, set, then you should be relaxed.
What's your favorite 3 restaurants in Nosara?
La Luna, that's for sure. That's the one that I remember the most. I couldn't tell another one.
That's like your
yeah,
staple.
yeah.
You're not alone.
My family is there right now. So.
Okay, that's good. Right on. Do you have any jokes or anything that you want to say, or any shout outs or any specific messages you want to use while you have this platform?
Yeah, I love for you guys. I have this shipping company, and I learned many years ago that I have to figure out a better way to service this community, because people hire me to move them to Costa Rica, but they call me 6 months later, crying to move them out of Costa Rica. So I start thinking, what can I do to make it better? And I met people. I bought this land. Somebody sold me this, and I cannot build. I lost $100,000. Can you ship everything back for me? So like you, I'm looking for ways to communicate information, resources, and I have been working for 3 months in something that we call, this is the website, theexpatcommunity.com, where we are publishing local news. So we get to the local newspapers in Costa Rica, translate that into English, and we post that, and we send that into a newsletter. So a lot of people do not know that in December you have to pay the marchamo, and then you get stopped, and they get your license plate off. But then we publish that so you know. Things like that. So they're building something. There is a road that they're doing construction. You didn't know. You are not prepared for that. That's the type of news that the newcomer or the expat that does not speak English, they need to know. So we're looking for those news, sending those out on Friday in a newsletter, but we also post those into a website. On Wednesdays, we're doing free Spanish classes. This is a Facebook Live or YouTube Live. You just connect. Check that out. We are doing many other things and networking events. It's called theexpatcommunity.com. It doesn't even have my shipping company anywhere. This is for the community, for you and I to work together, Surfing Nosara, all the people within the
whoever,
say, newcomer expat industry. I don't know if you want to call it that way, but the people that are trying to make others feel better and have a good experience when they're relocating to Costa Rica. We can work together on offering solutions and resources, and this is for free. And I'm hoping within 2 months we have the book ready. It's called The Expat Community Book, and this is just a general guide how to move to Costa Rica.
Right on, man. It sounds like, although we have wildly different businesses and day-to-day lives, it sounds like we have a lot of stuff in common as far as trying to get information out there.
Yeah, and it's a lot of work. It's a full-time job. I mean, so you're doing a great job.
Thanks, man. It's great to have you on, and I appreciate the feedback. It's really cool to see your story. Congratulations on your success, and thank you for doing this. I'm excited for people to get to connect with you. I don't have any clue what to tell people, but now I have somewhere that I'm going to direct them.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.